Hi everyone, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. I'm Em and welcome to my July TBR, I guess. I continue to be truly offended by how quickly 2025 is going by, but here we are and I guess we're just gonna do the thing. It's fine. Let's start off, as always, and talk about what I'm going to read for my year of Butler and Gaskell. This is my self-appointed challenge where I am alternating reading a book by Octavia E. Butler with a book by Elizabeth Gaskell, and July is a Butler month. And in May, I read Parable of the Sower. So, of course, in July, I am going to be reading The Parable of the Talent and completing this duology. I had already some familiarity with Parable of the Sower. I'd read the graphic novel adaptation several years ago, so that one was very familiar to me. I'm gonna close the window. Hold please. It's that constant struggle during the summer of it's really nice and I want the window open, but it also gets loud. Anyways, so while I did have familiarity with Parable of the Sower, I don't know where the story goes from there. So I'm very curious to pick up Parable of the Talent. Is it Talent or Talents? Anyways, you can see the cover, you know what it is, and see where our story goes from where we left off and see what happens to Lauren and the group of people that she collected on her journey in book one. For the Betty's Pages reading challenge, which Betty Pages is a independent bookstore and they do a reading challenge every year and it's on Storygraph, so you can check it out. It's also on their website. They have a different theme each month and they give you a bunch of books across all cage categories that you can pick from to fill that month. The theme for this year is exploring dystopian novels, and I have really fallen off my nonfiction game. I was going so strong at the beginning of the year, and I don't think I read a single nonfiction book in June. I have a few days left, so I could get one done, but so far I haven't, and I miss it. And so I picked Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond for this challenge, and I'm looking forward to reading it because I've heard a lot about it, but I'm also not looking forward to it because I think it's going to be a really enraging read. I think I'm going to get real frustrated and real mad at the way we do things in the United States and how we do not take care of people the way that we should. But I think it's about time that I read it. I don't think it's very long, but I do think it is going to make me mad. I don't have books picked for the buzzword reading challenges yet, for the cover or the title challenge, so I'll let you know what the prompts are, and if you have suggestions, let me know. I didn't have anything super apparent on my TBR, which means I'm gonna have to browse the library, which is fine, but I just didn't have the time or brain power to undertake that kind of scavenger hunt, I guess, this week. But the buzzword cover challenge is to read a book that has some sort of technology on the cover, and the buzzword reading challenge is to read a book that has punctuation in the title. So periods, commas, parentheses, semicolons, you get the idea. So if you have a recommendation, let me know down below. I'll probably go through these reading challenges are on Storygraph, so I will probably go on and kind of look what other people have put in for their choices to see if I see something there that I've already wanted to read, because that's kind of what I tried to do for the buzzword challenges, is I do try to find things that were already kind of on my radar or on like my soft TBR and pick from that. But I don't know, sometimes I find a book that I didn't even know existed and I read that. I need to reference my notes because I'm starting to forget. For the Solid State Science Fiction and Fantasy Book Club that I am officially lurking in because I have missed yet another virtual meeting for it, I want to go so bad. I want to go so bad, Kim or Aaron, if you watch this. I want to go to those meetings so bad, but my memory for remembering virtual things is awful. And I remembered like an hour after the live show because of the time difference, because Solid State is on the East Coast and I am on the West Coast. And remembering about the time change did me dirty. Eventually I will go, and I want to go so bad, but I'm just not It's not working to the best of my ability, but I am loving reading the books that have been selected for this book club. So for July, we are reading Tusk Love. I forget the author. This is from Critical Role, which I have really baseline knowledge about. But to my understanding, Tusk Love is like an erotic book that exists within the Critical Role universe. And now this erotic romance novel, I don't know if it's erotic, I might be making this up, but I know this is a book. Tusk Love is a book that exists in Critical Role, and now there is a book of the book in the game. I hope that translated. I'm excited. This is like the type of nerdy shit that I just eat up, and I wanted to read from this author for a while. I really want to read the Hurricane Wars, but instead of reading that, because I have heard that's Raylo fanfic, and I am just not, I can't with the Raylo fanfic, but Critical Role, which granted I know very little about, but I don't know, I'm excited about this. It sounds fun. I love the idea of it. And I love how excited the people who are, like the people who know about Critical Role and are into Critical Role, I love how excited they are about this book, and that excitement is making me excited to read it. And I pre-ordered it and everything, so here's hoping I like it, because this is like a $30 hardcover book. So if I don't like it, I'm gonna be upset with myself. So fingers crossed, but I'm so excited. I also love the cover. This is gonna be so fun, I hope. And then the other TBR stuff, well, okay. I need to go over my Summerween TBR, and then I have some random books on my TBR. So we'll do the random books first, and then we'll talk about Summerween. First off is, this is Lost and Found by Catherine Schultz. This is nonfiction, and I think it's memoir, but I heard Catherine Schultz on the Ezra Klein show, and I cried listening to her in that episode, because this is about processing her grief after her father died. And the way she talked about her dad on the podcast is what made me want to pick this up. It says, an endearing account of joy and sorrow from one of the greatest writers of our time. So yeah, 18 months before her father died, she met the woman she would marry. She weaves the stories of those relationships into a dazzling exploration of how all our lives are shaped by loss and discovery. It's kind of short. I think this is gonna like absolutely emotionally devastate me, but also lift me up. And I really need that from a book right now. And like I said earlier, I've really fallen off my nonfiction game, and I want to get back on it in July. So I've kind of like front loaded quite a few nonfiction, but I think it's gonna make July a better reading month, because I think May and June being kind of ho-hum reading months, spoiler alert for my wrap up, that's coming shortly. I think I'll have a better time if I integrate more nonfiction into it, is my theory. And then the other random book that's on my TBR is Hio, the Hellmaker by Mina Ikemoto Ghosh. This is an illustrated novel. This is YA. My oldest read this a couple months ago and absolutely loved it and has been begging me to read it. So I need to read it before they disown me or something, or yell at me, which is arguably scarier. And this is about a girl who's a hellmaker, hired to create customized hells and unlucky days for your worst enemy. And then a demon destroys her village, and she and her brother like have to flee and do things. And it's so chunky, but it is illustrated. So there are like pages of text and then pages where art is integrated into the text. And I think it's pretty violent, if I remember correctly from watching my oldest read it. But I haven't read anything like this, so I think this will be a fun time, and it will be fun to have like a thing to talk to my oldest about. And then we're gonna dive into my Summerween TBR, because Summerween is starting on July 5th, so just not even a week away. I'm so excited. This is a readathon created by Gabby Reads, and the point is basically to bring a Halloween into the summer. So I have quite a few books. I do not guarantee that I am going to read all of these books in that 1 week. I don't even know how many of the prompts these books fit. That's a later Emily problem. These are just things that I'm excited about. So I have another nonfiction. This is Whack Job, A History of Axe Murder by Rachel McCarthy James. I don't need to say anything more. This is like a super specific niche thing, and I love super specific niche nonfiction. It makes me so happy. So hopefully I'll read this. I also have Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker. This just came out and has been getting like rave reviews from everybody. I don't think I've seen anybody give this below a 4.5, but this is set in 2020 in New York City, and our main character is a crime scene cleaner, and I believe at the beginning of the book she witnesses her sister be brutally murdered, and there's something about ghosts. And I know this really is taking on the Asian hate that really flared up rampantly during COVID-19 in the United States. And I just heard all good things, so I'm excited to read it. Well, yeah, I'm excited to read it. I also have Caitlin Starling's new book, The Starving Saints. This is medieval horror with cannibalistic nuns. I don't know. That's all I know. I don't want to know more. I just want to go in as clueless as possible, and like the journey of discovering what this book is about will be the fun of it. I hope. I've read The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling, and I absolutely loved it, but I haven't read any of her other works, so I'm hoping I like her a lot. And then I have 2 arcs that I've kind of been hoarding that I need to read. The first, if you saw my book haul video, you know I don't like this cover. I don't like this title. Don't ask me why I still want to read it, but I have Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. It's a little novella. I think there's like fungi horror. The like very brief, like 1-sentence blurb at the top says, after a routine probe at a research station turns deadly, the team discovers a strange specimen in search of a place to stay warm. I'm not gonna like this. This is gonna gross me out, but I'm gonna read it anyways. And then the other one I want to read is 2 of Stephen Graham Jones's novellas are being republished in July, but they're being published in like this double feature book where one is on one side and then you flip it over and you have the other. I'm not really interested in Killer on the Road, but I am interested in The Babysitter Lives, so I am going to try to read this one during Summerween. And it's another like 200-page novella, though I never fly through Stephen Graham Jones. He always takes like a little bit more brain power for me, and I won't have an audiobook to lean on, I don't think, so I'm gonna have to read this with my eyeballs because this doesn't come out until July 15th, which is after Summerween has ended. But that is the Summerween TBR, and then against my better judgment, we are going to draw 2 books from the TBR jar. I feel like this TBR is big enough as it is. I don't need these, but we're going to do it anyways because I'm trying to burn through that TBR. Well, not burn through, but just, you know, read that TBR. We're going to do a yellow one because that's the one I grabbed. It was not strategic at all. Okay, it's an Elizabeth Gaskell book. I just need to stop putting that in there because I am going to read that. All right, let's try that again. Is it time to like go through my TBR jar again and weed out the old ones? Okay. Can I read this one? All right, it's Tomb of Dragons, but I need to go check something first. So the tricky thing about Tomb of Dragons is that this is book 3 in a series in the Chronicles of Osrith. And the Goblin Emperor is technically the start of it, though I believe this is kind of a separate trilogy that's set in the same world, but you're focused on a different character. I also have The Grief of Stones, which is book 2, but I do not have The Witness for the Dead, which is book 1, and I haven't read The Witness for the Dead. So I think in order to like start on this series, instead I'm going to read The Witness for the Dead. So that will count. Just a minute, the cat wants out. What was I saying? So instead of reading The Tomb of Dragons, instead I'm just going to put The Witness for the Dead on my TBR, and then I can start on this series, which will be great because this is an option for book series bingo. So I'll do that, and then Tomb of Dragons I'll just put back, and that way I can at least start the series, and then I have the potential to draw this book again once I've officially started it and made some progress. And then the next one is going to be Purple Slip. No. Oh no. Okay. Well, it finally happened. A Day of Fallen Night. I mean, I knew it had to happen sometime. Am I ever gonna be ready to read a 1,000 page book? Probably not. So it had to happen sometime. I did really like Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't remember what I gave it because I read it back in like 2020 or 2021, but I really liked it. Obviously, these are white pages. My goodness. I don't even know what to tell you about this book other than that it's by Samantha Shannon and it's a prequel to Priory. And oh, it's not 1,000 pages, 860 something pages, but still, this is an undertaking. So I am going to put it on the TBR, but a gentle put it on the TBR, and we'll see how it goes from there. Wow, I did not see this book coming up for this month, so wish me luck. This is intimidating. I hope I love it. I've seen really mixed reviews for it, but I hope it's for me. All right, so that is the TBR, the now very scary, intimidating TBR. But I think this will be good. I have a couple of projects I want to do in July. I want to make progress on book series bingo, and I want to do a dedicated vlog for Summerween. But other than that, I'm gonna try really hard to pump the brakes on specific project reading that is outside of my TBR. And since all the Summerween books on here are on my TBR, I feel like it could be okay. And I think even A Day of Fallen Night is on my book series TBR. I'll have to double check. I know it was on there at some point. I might have taken it off because I got scared, but hopefully it's still there. And then maybe I can build the next episode around this bad boy. But anyways, thank you so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I really appreciate it. If you would like to leave an emoji to let me know you made it to the end. Let's do an axe for Black Job and for Summerween. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye!